All right, we're back with another episode on the Plant-Based Fitness Secrets show. We have a special guest joining us today. We have Larry, who is one of our superstar members and clients. And how are you doing today, Larry?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Thank you.
Absolutely. Where are you joining from?
I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on the Great Lakes here on the coast of Lake Michigan.
Nice. That's beautiful. Yeah, I remember you talking about that on our Wins channel at times. And yeah, it's good to have you. Good to have you here on board. And I want to get you on because you have had an incredible journey, an incredible transformation so far. We're not done yet, but you've already come so far. And I want to invite you on to share what you've learned, crushing your goals as a plant-based eater, someone that is crushing their goals. And I think your story is especially inspirational because you are about to, you're 59, you're about to enter your 60s. And this is something that obviously in any age you can crush it, but it's always easier said than done, right? So I think it's inspirational what you did. And yeah, excited to have you on. I was actually curious just to get this started before we go into the learnings and lessons for you. What made you kind of look into a plant-based lifestyle? I know you kind of dabbled in flexitarian before, so what was your like journey to that?
Well, a few reasons to become plant-based. Ethical, spiritual reasons, for welfare of animals, health reasons, and also just better for the planet, all of those three things combined. And I still am, I'm not 100% vegan. I'm mostly plant-based. But as much as possible, when I have healthy vegan choices, that's kind of the way I eat.
Nice. Right on. Amazing. So let's get started. I would love to hear what are some of the learnings or lessons or mistakes maybe you made before working with us inside the program and the coaching, and then how did that change over time?
Yeah, I think, well, a little background. I've always had an interest in fitness and wellness. And it's been a passion of mine, but I've kind of been all over the place. I've been a yoga practitioner for over 15 years, and I'm also a mindfulness. I practice meditation and mindfulness. I actually teach meditation. I've done some different modalities of well fitness, um, and I have had interest in nutrition, but I never really had a program that kind of brought everything together. And so I think when I was looking for something that kind of I wasn't seeing the result. I was working hard um, at, all over the place throughout since I was 30 maybe. So for the last 30 years,
Mhm.
and having some success, getting a little bit healthier, but nothing really could pull it all together in one sort of cohesive, holistic program. And so that's what kind of made me sign up for the program. And also, I don't want to say I was like anti macro or anti
Mhm.
counting calories, but it wasn't something I was really interested in. I don't know why I was sort of adverse to it, and I was sort of resisting that.
Mhm.
But I really learned that it works, and I also learned that it's actually not as tricky or not as complicated as it is to track your macros and to track your nutrition, especially when someone gives you the plan to follow and gives you meals that have all the calories and the macros just listed there on the page for you. So that kind of was a no-brainer after a while. And in fact, after 6 months, I can almost do it intuitively. I know by looking at the plate what the macros are. Not exactly, but you don't have to be perfect with macros either.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think when we first talked, I think, yeah, we mentioned we're going through a lot of different things, but the first thing that kind of came to my mind as well that, you've worked with trainers in the past, right? And it's something that modern people that we work with have tried. And usually it's not enough for most people to work with a personal trainer. And I've seen like my personal story with with clients we've helped that have worked with the PT for years and still stayed in the same kind of physique. And you can train really hard, but if your nutrition is not dialed in, especially, it's kind of two separate problems, right? Like on the one side, training, you are solving for muscle gain and strength, and on nutrition, you're solving for fat loss and getting rid of excess weight. So usually it's better to have one coach that can cover both rather than having like, oh, I have one person for this. I also have friends of mine who, unfortunately, have been stuck as well with their physique. And what they have done is, oh, I have an expert for training. I have a nutritionist I'm seeing. I have a mobility person, mobility coach I'm seeing. And it's awesome if you can do that, but it doesn't really make any sense because it needs to work hand in hand. So
Yeah, for the 6 months prior to, I mean, was focusing on some strength training for about 6 months before I signed on to your program, and I think I lost 4 pounds in 6 months.
oh
So
yeah.
it's really, not much at all. And so that's kind of what even pushed me over the edge to try it, because I thought I'm putting in too much energy and too much effort to not see more. I was getting stronger, but my body composition wasn't really changing much at all.
Yes.
And so I thought something's not quite working right.
Sure, for sure. And you mentioned you were kind of not you didn't want to dive into macros and tracking necessarily.
Yeah.
And then you did other things, right? You did like Whole30, I
Yeah.
think you did. How did that go, and why didn't that work in the first place?
Well, I did Whole30, and I mean, to be honest, I don't think the goal of Whole30 is actually to lose weight necessarily. I mean, they even say that. They'll say it's really more designed to sort of it's more of like a cleanse, or to kind of get your body back in more of a homeostasis, sort of, and also to see what kind of foods sensitivities you may have. But I've done other things. I've done some intermittent fasting that, I've seen results, but nothing was sustainable. I really yo-yoed up and down with those programs. Years ago, I actually did, I was kind of working, I think this is really before I was plant-based, so probably maybe 20 years ago, I did the Zone diet, which is, a Mediterranean-based diet. And interestingly, I had a pretty good success with that, actually. And interestingly, the macros in the Zone diet are very similar to what I'm doing right now,
Mm,
with 40% protein, 30 carbs, and 30 fat. And so that was, my body actually responded well to that. But I just didn't, I don't know why I didn't, life happens, and a lot of us fall off the wagon. And so I didn't stick with that. But now I've really learned that, it's sustainable. And especially after doing it for 6 months, my body has really adapted, like to even though I'm still in a slight deficit, I don't really feel hungry. My body has sort of like has enough nutrition. I'm eating such nutritious food that I don't really have, I mean, much cravings, and it took a little while for that to happen, for sure.
mm.
But your body kind of learns, oh, I'm getting the nutrition that I need. I feel good. I have energy. So yeah, I've tried a lot of different yo-yo diets.
Yeah.
Um, so
Okay. Okay. Zone diet I actually haven't heard before. That's interesting. I'll look into that. It seems to be, yeah, 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fats. Yeah, the issue with the percentage kind of calculation is that it doesn't factor in your specific body kind of weight, your height, your goals. So
yeah.
it's glad to hear that that worked for you, I guess, but it definitely needs more precision in terms of setting it up. So you're saying that, yeah, you've been on a diet, and how much weight have you lost so far working with us?
Well, last July I was 218 pounds, and then when I started the program in with you in January, I was just only down to 214, and in June I came down to 180 pounds. So I've lost about between, maybe, what is that, 34 pounds.
Wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And you said that during this time that you obviously took some time to adjust, but you weren't like really like hungry all the time. You were like pretty satisfied most of the time.
Yeah, I was really satisfied. I mean, with a emphasis on, protein, it's more satiating. So, always having some protein with my snacks and my meals, I really wasn't hungry. And I also learned actually that it's okay to be hungry, like it's okay to go to bed hungry. Like there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with going to bed a little bit hungry. Like you
Yes.
wake up in the morning, you don't feel ravenous, you don't feel hungry. Your body's like, I have enough food to do what I need to do.
Yes.
So
It's
yeah,
actually
and
always a good sign. Hmm.
one big thing I learned, which I knew this about nutrition, but this program and living it sort of really drove it home for me is that, and I don't know, I'm here in the United States in America, and sometimes food is really looked upon as like a celebratory thing or like a fun thing or like a social thing. But the purpose of food is for nutrition. It's really to fuel our bodies. It's not really, and so I've also learned that like nutrition can be boring. There's nothing wrong with like it's okay if it's boring, if it's serving its purpose. Most of the time, and that again doesn't mean that you can't have a celebratory meal or you can't go out with friends and celebrate, and have a good time now and then. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so I mean, that was really, I really sort of, one of my teachers, one of my meditation teachers actually told me a while ago, years ago, that that's what food is for. It's really for the main purpose of food is for nutrition. And so if you treat it that way, you see it in your body.
Yes. Beautifully said. Yeah, this was for me a revelation when I started. So when I started my journey, I was also very much like tracking a lot of things and fueling myself the way I need to. And at some point, once I reached my goal physique, I started stepping out more and traveling more, eating out more with friends. And a lot of my friends just, like you say, used food more as a celebration and as a connection tool, which for me was definitely a change that I wasn't used to. So it took some time to get used to that. But I also realized it's not really for, at least the current stage of my life, it's not really what I need and want. I'm not saying that I'm not open to it, like you said, but I think, yeah, you can, if you're not careful, people are still young, you can still, like if you're in your 20s and in the early 30s, probably doesn't really matter that much. But if you install these habits now, then maybe later on when you're 40s, 50s, it's hard to, yeah, it's hard to switch. And then maybe the struggle is harder to keep off the weight because your body is not as forgiving. So it's always an integration of both, I think. But definitely, yeah, not an easy thing to navigate as you're trying to get leaner. Eating out, it's definitely possible, but anyone that would tell you, oh, it's so easy, would be lying, like just blatantly lying. It's definitely, um, especially when you come from a clean kind of cooking at home background, and then you go out, it's very salty, very oily, your body will react. And then it's just about managing that, which is doable, but it's not something that is just like super easily done. So
Yeah, and I found the program very flexible and sort of portable. Like, I did travel quite a bit over the last 6 months. I went to New York City for a long weekend. I went to Japan for 2 weeks. I went to a work conference in Kansas City. I was just got back a while ago from a long weekend in Redwood National Park. And again, I found the nutrition plan very portable and flexible. And again, if I strayed for a meal or two here or there, it didn't crash course my progress. Get back on right when I get back.
yes, yeah. Didn't you come back from Japan even like the same weight or lighter,
I
if I
think I
remember
lost a
correctly?
few pounds in Japan over 2 weeks, and I wasn't strictly on the plan. So what I would do is I would
Hmm.
be pretty strict about my breakfast or a little bit careful with my breakfast and my lunch. And then that allowed me to kind of have more of a free meal for dinner, and again with moderation. Still, and the food in Japan is moderately healthy compared to what we have
That's
sometimes
true.
here.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was walking a lot too, so I was walking about 10 miles a day over 20,000 steps, which also helps.
Yeah, that's awesome. Curious because I see that a lot on social media, also with friends that come to Europe from the US. Have you experienced that when you travel outside the US, let's say Japan or Europe or other places, that the food affects your body differently? Do you feel like the food has better quality, or you can eat more and you can still maintain your weight? Because I've heard some of the feedback from friends of mine. I know it's just placebo, but when I went to the US, spent more time, I definitely, my body had definitely had to get adjusted to the food. I'm not sure what it was, if it was a quality, or I know if you saw the Norwegian soccer team imported like all their food for the World Cup, which was an interesting kind of headline. Obviously, like the headline, but they didn't want to leave things up to chance with American food. So have you experienced that with your travel, or not so much?
Well, I haven't done the only international travel I did was to Japan, and there was a lot of healthy food choices there. More and more here in the United States, we do, I think, are having more and more choices and a lot more vegan choices. The problem, I think, with some of the vegan and plant-based choices is they are not always the most healthy choices here,
Hmm.
or they don't have a good source of protein. So that's sometimes why I would revert to eating a little bit of eggs or even sometimes a little bit of fish or
Yes.
seafood because I wouldn't have a quality choice for a vegan
Hmm.
protein option.
Yeah, let's talk about that if you're open. So have you found that works good for you? Because yeah, we have obviously a plant-based approach, but we do say, and we do see with certain clients like you that are on a go a lot or sometimes are eating out, that the question becomes, okay, what do you prefer? Would you like to live 100% according to the lifestyle, and then you got to make adjustments, obviously, and it's possible, or do you make the choice and say, okay, like instead of having something unhealthy for me, I might as well have some fish or eggs to kind of hit my nutrients without. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? What's your thinking process around that?
That's a really good question. It's kind of a tough question because, I am a little bit conflicted with not being more plant-based, but I don't beat myself up about it. And I think, it's really unique for everyone. And I think it's important, especially for people who might be wanting to make that switch to being plant-based, that you don't have to go cold turkey or 100% cold turkey, no pun intended, with a plant choice. The more you're eating plant-based, it's still better for animals, still better for the environment, still better for um, your health. So you get there with baby steps, and um, I think there's no shame in being a flexitarian. Again, um, you have to figure out what works best for you, and it's a really
Mhm.
individual thing. And um, yeah, so
100%. Yes, I agree. So my take on that is similar. I think I've made a post about that and lost a lot of followers from it. Just because it's obviously a controversial topic, maybe, but in my mind, and there's also a book on that, how to make a vegan world. The more plant-based choices we can make, the better for everyone involved, the planet, the animals, and also the individual person. You would benefit from having 100% plant-based diet, but there's also, if you look at the overarching research, and Simon Hill talks about that too, then you would see that fully plant-based diets and flexitarian diets have similar health outcomes in the long run in terms of benefits. And what does flexitarian mean? That's a whole different conversation. Like how much animal products would you be having? And this obviously depends. I've seen research where they've used, 300 grams or less beef per week, for example. A few eggs here and there would be a flexitarian approach. I know that Dr. Ornish, I don't know if you know Dr. Ornish, but he has an approach that is plant-based food plus low-fat yogurt plus egg whites. That's kind of his approach. Obviously, there's different sliding scales there, and I think it's a very personal decision. We can obviously say that fully plant-based is incredible for you if you plan it properly. It can also be unhealthy for you if you don't plan it properly. But looking at studies, you cannot blatantly say or just say, hey, vegan is best for everyone. There's certain nuance, but I think it's a personal decision, and I think it's awesome to see that you found a path there. Um, okay, cool. So yo-yoing, we talked about that, and I'm curious, what have you seen change in your body over the last 10 years? Have you felt it's gotten harder for you to gain muscle, gain strength, and then how has it been in the program since focusing obviously on losing weight, but also in getting stronger and also I know you're posting your updates frequently, and would love to hear what you've been able to achieve skill wise as well with that.
Yeah. Well, just in general, like overall, I've never felt stronger in my life. Even at the height of my yoga fitness, and I was certified as a MoveNat teacher of natural modality of movement, functional movement. But I've never felt stronger from the tip of my toes. Like every part of just really well balanced. And then that just translate in. I like to go hiking and be active outside, and it just made that part of my life a lot. Like I can do harder things. I like to do hard things sometimes, challenging things, and they've just become a lot more effortless. Or I just feel really at ease in my body, and so that's been great. What did you ask something about over the last 10? Oh yeah, it's definitely harder
Hmm.
to gain muscle at this age.
Hmm.
Um, but with the nutrition, combined with the nutrition, I think it really supports it. I definitely see if when I'm looking at my progress pictures, it's funny, you don't really see week to week, you don't notice that much, but when you put the first week compared to now, there's quite a difference. And I definitely, even last night in the mirror, I was like, wow, I'm seeing definition in my arms slowly but surely. It's a slower process, but it's definitely happening. Um,
Amazing.
yeah. So I feel really, and I have really a lot of confidence that just kind of seeped into my life, into my work life and my personal life, just because of the way that I feel in my body.
Hmm. Amazing. Yeah, how's it shown up in your life when you have this strength and this body that you currently have?
It's kind of hard to put it into words, I mean, it's just like there's just a feeling that you have and this energy or this it's very internal that just sort of exudes out of you. Um, and it's sort of hard for me to put it into words, but
Hmm.
you just you just feel differently from the inside out.
Hmm.
It's like on a cellular level in a way.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like a clean, for me at least, it's like a clean, light feeling, strong. It's a combination of things you can't really put your finger on.
Hmm.
But that's at least also I feel like how you look right now compared to when we first started. Um, leaner, more, you know, good looking skin, less inflammation, and at the same time strong. So I think that's a beautiful combination.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think also too, just the little wins that you have in the gym every week, like, and it's like, it just like, it shows that you can accomplish things that you didn't think you could accomplish.
mhm.
I mean, and so it sort of filters, sort of trickles into the rest of your life. It's sort of, oh, you're not afraid to try things,
Yes.
and you're also not afraid to fail because that's part of the process, or and then learn from your failures and learn from your mistakes as well.
Do you feel like going into your 60s now, do you feel like prepared for it? Do you feel agile, mobile, and kind of ready to take on the next chapter of your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to get more healthy was because I'm looking to retire soon, and I wanted to be able to, there's a lot of things we can't control about our health and our aging, and we don't know when you get to be 60, you see a lot of things happening to people around you, your age, younger than you, the same age as you and older. And so a
Mm,
lot of those things are out of their control. I wanted to just go into my 60s and into my retirement years um, controlling the things that I could control so that, when those uncontrollable things come up in life, then you have the best way to sort of face them, the best sort of possible circumstances, physically, mentally, spiritually, that you can deal with whatever life's going to throw you. And also to be, when you retire, you want to be able to do things. You want to be able to travel. If you retire and you don't feel like traveling because your body hurts or you don't
mm,
you've wasted your whole life working to to have this freedom, and then you don't feel physically up to doing things.
mm,
So that was one of my main goals, which I really feel like I've accomplished, is that when I retire in the next couple of years, hopefully sooner rather than later, I will have energy and vitality and the desire to get out and see. I've been lucky to see a lot of the world already in my first 60 years, but there's a lot of places I haven't gone and a lot of things I haven't done. And like I said earlier, I do like to do some things that are challenging sometimes and hard things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So physically, so I feel like I can do some of those still.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah, exactly. You want to be agile, be able to hike, be able to explore this beautiful planet. And I know when we first talked as well, one of the things that came up was more, let's say, snacking or having, foods that are just, when you are relaxing in the evening in the front of the TV or just going about your day. And how have you found you were able to navigate that compared to how it is now? So snacking and acting out of, hunger. What have you found? How's it show up now for you?
Yeah, I think there's just a sense of accountability now with the program. And also, if the calories don't fit into my meal plan, then that I don't have room for it in my life. And again, that doesn't mean like you can't have, well, I've found healthier ways to snack. Like if I'm really craving something sweet or like a snack, I'll have an apple or a banana or some fruit because you can't really go wrong with fruit if you're, I mean, you can overeat fruit, but it's hard to, within reason. Again, you having an apple is not going to ruin your day nutrition wise rather than having a bag of chips
Yes.
or a bag of cookies.
Mhm.
And I also learned, if you want a piece of chocolate, have a small piece of chocolate. Have a 1 ounce of chocolate. It's not going to blow your macros for the day.
Yes.
So it's just made me more mindful. I mean, I teach mindfulness, so we can apply that to food and nutrition as well. Mindfulness is all about remembering, and paying attention. So just really paying attention. So this program, having a nutrition program, kind of gives you pretty strict guidelines, and then also checking in weekly, with a coach.
Mhm.
So you've
How's that
got,
been? How's
it's
that
been
been checking
awesome.
with your coach?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've had a couple coaches, I've had your support through the whole program, but then I worked with Salome for a few months and had a great relationship with her. And she's super motivating and positive. I love her energy. And then the last few months, I've been working with Patrick, and just they're there for you whenever you need them. I have a call with Patrick tomorrow. We'll check in, and we're gonna, I think, transition from my deficit calories into more of a maintenance mode. So he'll help me to navigate that, and we just switch my workouts up. We're doing a push-pull full body workout program that's relatively new that I'm having good success with. So it's been great, and the check-ins, they cover all aspects: nutrition, what's your mindset, do you have pain in your body, how's your digestion? So really holistic resources. Yeah,
Yes. Amazing. Yeah, I love to hear that you've been enjoying working with us and we do
yeah,
have a holistic approach because it is the whole system that we need to look at really and it works hand in hand. And I mean, you've been showing up. Honestly, you've been one of the most consistent people that we work with and it's really a testament to your execution, which is what matters. And again, we're just getting started really. I mean, we have obviously done a lot in the last 6 months, but we obviously have a lot more goals to work towards too. Amazing. So speaking about that, speaking about going into maintenance and making this transition, what what do you feel like is something that coming into the program, um, the value you got, what value you got that you didn't expect you would get? Maybe asking that.
Uh, well, here I'll say this too. There's a quote from Benjamin Franklin, and he says, "The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten."
Mm,
So talking about kind of basically you get what you pay for, right? So I was maybe a little resistant to invest the money in this program because it's not expensive, but it's a really good value. But it's a commitment, it's a financial commitment. And we can pay for things now, like we can invest in our health now, or we can pay for it with prescription drugs later, or surgeries, or a lot of different ways. So I'm really happy that I made that investment. It's definitely been worth every penny. Um, and I think really we've touched on this, but just having a program that really has just all the different touch points and brings them together in a really cohesive, um, uh, easy way to follow the program. I'm kind of an all in or all out guy. When I do make that commitment, uh, actually paying for the program kind of just made me do it, because I'm like, if I'm going to pay for this, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get I'm going to get my money's worth. So I just
Yes.
took full advantage and threw myself. And that's kind of just how I do things in life. If I decide to do something, I do it. I did miss on Friday. I missed a workout, which is the first workout I missed
God damn it.
in the
The hell?
entire program. So I mean, I was like, but I was doing a lot of yoga and stuff last week, so I was like, whatever. I'm on vacation. It's all good. So yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's great. I think you hit a good point there. Yeah, you can pay now, you can pay later, but later the price is always greater. That's
Yeah.
kind of the saying that I got. But yeah, I mean, you invested, and now look at you. You're in charge, so that's amazing to see. So just from a like numbers perspective, to give some context, you already mentioned that from 217, right, or 217 pounds to 180 is the raw numbers. I think I lost your connection for a second here. We're back. Yes, no worries. So
Technology.
the raw numbers, I think you dropped them before, but just so we have them again, you went from your starting weight to your current weight. What was those numbers again?
Yeah, I was 214 in December or January when I started. And then this last month in June, I came down to 180. So I lost about 34 pounds.
Nice.
My waist dropped from 36 inches down to about 32 and a half. So I've lost over 3.5 inches on my waist. My blood work, actually, I've seen a lot of changes in my blood work. So my cholesterol, my total cholesterol dropped from 144 to 110. Um, my triglycerides dropped from 82 to 56, and my blood pressure is down to like 108 over 62.
Wow. Incredible. That's
Yeah.
what matters. I mean, the weight is amazing, but then seeing the blood work as well. What was the reaction from your doctor to that?
It's great. I actually, this is a good point. I was talking about the financial part of it. And so one of the things that I did was to work with my doctor. Actually wanted to go on a GLP-1. And he said, no, I really don't want you to go on that. He's like, you can do it. You can do whatever you want. But he's like, we don't know the long-term effects of that. So that's also another thing that inspired me to do this program, was to do it, to lose weight the old-fashioned way, and also to not lose muscle. Um, but then I had him write me a letter of medical necessity so that I could use my HSA funds, which is like up to like 30% pre-tax savings. So that was a really effective way. I also work with a couple, like a physiotherapist, a sports medicine guy, just to keep my body in alignment. And they see my body in my underwear, so they're like, "Wow, what are you doing?" So they're like, "Keep it up, whatever you're doing. It's definitely working." Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Glad to hear that. And in terms of strength, what were those incremental improvements? What have you seen in maybe the key lifts or the lifts that you really saw difference in, like how much stronger you get, how much weight were you able to add?
Yeah, chest press, I've added 60 pounds, like gone up like 60%. Bench press, I've gone up about 35 pounds, 44%.
Wow.
My pull downs are up about 30 pounds. And my leg press is up from 240 up to 437 pounds.
Wow, that's incredible.
29 reps too, so not just a
Damn,
couple reps. Yeah, yesterday I did a push day, and that was feeling really good about that.
strong, strong work. Amazing. Love to hear the numbers as well. And obviously, you mentioned your well-being before and the handstand. Not sure if you mentioned that, but we obviously have seen you share that in the group. Um, were you able to do the handstand before, or how did that evolve?
I actually been a handstand junkie for quite some time,
Okay.
but over the last 10 years, putting on that extra weight and not having upper body shoulder strength, handstands were not an easy movement for me to do. But recently, having that energy and that vitality, I've got back into my handstand practice and really found that the upper body strength is really helping me to kind of get a little bit more hang time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Nice.
definitely hoping that maybe 60, the age 60 is the year when I can sort of master the handstand. We'll see. Time will tell.
Yes, that's awesome. No, it's really impressive. I mean, with the amount of muscle you have in doing handstand, I can't. I haven't tried, but I definitely need to pick it up. I think it's a fun skill to have. Mm, and
I love it because of the way it flips your perspective. Flipping upside down
Mhm.
gives you like a different, like you literally see things in the opposite way. So it's nice to like do that, and it's just playful, a playful movement as well.
Amazing, amazing. And in terms of your mindset, because you just mentioned seeing things in other perspective, how has that evolved over the program, over this journey? You felt like your mindset, your resilience, and the way you approach life has changed a bit, or new learnings you've had there.
Um, I would say the biggest takeaway there is just kind of like how the hard work is paid off and making that commitment. Um, I when I signed on and we talked about my weight getting down to 180, I was a little bit skeptical. I thought, wow, really?
Hmm.
So, I wasn't really sure if I could lose that much weight, but I've seen it happen. So it just kind of again, shows you what you can do with dedication, with commitment, and with support. The support has been really helpful too. So definitely, I would say it really shows you that you can do anything if you put your mind to it and you put in the work and you put in the effort. And again, it's funny when you look at your weight loss too, it's very much like this. It's very
Hmm.
much, it's not this straight down. But if you look at it monthly, it is that sort of
Yeah.
drop down. So again, not freaking out when you're a little bit, when things aren't happening, the way, like sometimes the weight, I'd had a few weeks or months where the weight was pretty flat and then all of a sudden that would just fall off. So just really sticking to the plan and trusting in the process has been really the mindset, the takeaway that I've had.
Nice. Beautiful. Did you have some favorite meals that you really enjoy that made it easier?
Um, I have a favorite food that I've been eating. It's just that I found this Jenny. It's the brand is called Jenny's. It's a baked tofu,
Hmm.
so it's pre-baked and it has turmeric in it. There's also a five spice blend, and I like it because the texture is because it's baked. It's like a firmer texture. It's almost meaty, if you will. So I love the tofu stir fries. I do love my egg white omelets. There hasn't honestly been a meal. You know what I've really fallen in love with is the protein oatmeal.
Hmm.
So easy.
Hmm.
I have it every morning. And again, I haven't even gotten sick of it for 6 months because I'll mix up what fruit I put in with it, just mixing up different berries, or sometimes I'll
Yeah.
throw a banana in or apples. So I do love that. And I also have done the meal plan where I make an extra portion for dinner.
Hmm.
So then the next day I have it for lunch. So that's easy because I work full time. I have a busy career.
Hmm.
I'm in a busy life. So that's meal prep was a challenge at first,
Hmm.
but that was a really easy way to make that happen was just, I don't mind cooking. One meal a day is definitely not a problem. And then that covers my lunch for the next day. And then breakfast is so easy. I can do it, throw it on the stove while I'm getting ready in the morning and it just cooks itself.
Amazing. Amazing. Right on. Well, then last question really, do you feel like this is sustainable? The weight loss is a sustainable transformation, or is this something where you will just gain it all back and go back to your old self?
Yeah, that's probably the $1 million question, right? Is it worth it, right? Yeah, and only time will tell. But I feel like I've learned so much, like on how to do it right this time, and what works and what doesn't work. Um, and also knowing that it's okay to even fall off the plan a little bit, as far as like, it's not about perfection. Definitely, it's more about consistency. So I know I've learned in the 6 months that it is sustainable as long as I do the work and I make that commitment. Um, yeah,
Yes. And I think that's what we're going to work on now, increasing
yeah,
calories to maintenance, increasing calories to above maintenance. That's where it becomes really sustainable, where you can see, oh, I can eat more and my weight stays the same. I'm not losing my progress, and then balancing that out. And we have enough time to go fully into that and build out a sustainable lifestyle for you. So
yeah. I'm really excited about this part of the program because I don't quite understand how it's going to work, but I'm looking forward to learning that and experiencing that firsthand.
yes, it works like this: more food, more carbs, more strength, more muscle,
Okay.
more life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's you want to be, it's an intricate kind of part of the journey, because you don't want to increase it too fast. You want to make sure you get the right amounts. So but it's fun. It's fun. So you can look forward to it for sure. So
Cool.
Larry, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate you sharing your journey, sharing your success, and excited to see you continue crushing it. And obviously, we're just getting started, like we said, and appreciate you coming on to share.
Yeah, my pleasure. I hope that somebody can learn and have a similar experience, similar success.
Yes, 100%. So if you're watching this or listening to this and you feel like you need this, you're inspired, and you've got work to do, and you want to do it on a plant-based diet with one-on-one help, with accountability, with nutrition coaching, exercise coaching, and like Larry said, also we focus on your gut health. We focus on your pain-free training, helping recover from injuries or work through injuries. Help, actually, a bunch of clients come to us with injuries or limitations. And if you have a busy schedule, just like Larry as well, then feel free to book a free call with me or one of my team members, and we can sit down and work out a strategy, a roadmap for you, and then see if it's a fit to work together. The link for that is in the description, or just my name, fritzhorstmann.com. And yeah, thanks so much, Larry, for coming on. Let's continue crushing it.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome. My pleasure.
we'll talk soon. Thanks for listening. Peace out.